If you've recently found yourself immersed in the glossy pages of Vogue or scrolling through the digital realm of Cosmo, you've probably wondered when it was that women went from being celebrated fashion inspirations to, honestly, mere pawns in radically politically charged narratives. When did shopping for a new dress for a friend's wedding become a discussion around reproductive rights? Or simply watching a makeup video become a debate around sexualizing children? No longer is mainstream women's content a paragon to strive for, but a breeding ground for radical agenda recruitment. Hi, I'm Hannah, and today we are diving into the modern feminist agenda and exploring where we go from here and how we fix femininity for the future. Welcome to The Swish, where we explore trends, tradition, and lifestyle for an elegant and inspired life. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Not even 2 decades ago, when I was growing up, women's media served as a source of inspiration, pure and simple it seemed. It was an inspiration for women to look and feel their best, to want to grow up and become somebody influential. But here my generation is, all grown up, and things, well, they aren't at all what they seemed. No matter how many new movies or TV shows have women as the male lead or the male lead replacement, or having labels like strong and empowered, those shows are routinely a flop. Women and men don't seem to care to watch them. And it's not that we hate women or that feminism is being suppressed. Instead, women worldwide are simply sick of being fed ideas that we're supposed to see ourselves in these examples of womanhood that Hollywood has put before us. We're tired of being told that true womanhood is found in radical self empowerment and extreme love. We don't see our gender as an excuse or a justification for our actions and abilities. In fact, we want to champion our unique differences from men, not hate them, and aspire to uphold our values that are bigger than ourselves. We want to revel in our femininity and resist the deceptive allure of contemporary feminist ideologies that are proclaiming that good is found within ourselves rather than being the antithesis of evil. But this dichotomy has left most young women today really frustrated and confused. We know deep down that the attitudes and the posturing of womanhood that's presented on screen today and touted by mainstream media, that it's really wrong. But the question is, where do we go from here? What are we supposed to be doing? Are we supposed to retreat back to our favorite aesthetic from Jane Austen or the 1950s? Do we pretend to live in a different era or give up on it altogether? How do we restore a femininity that reflects truth, it reflects goodness, and it reflects beauty? In separating the aesthetics of womanhood from the values of womanhood, we find ourselves looking for something deeper to hold on to and guiding us in a life of success. Growing up, I always admired women like Audrey Hepburn, Vivian Leigh, Jackie Kennedy, Princess Diana, and other iconic female figures that I plan to be just like. But as I've grown older, I started to wonder, what is it about them exactly that I'm drawn to? Is it just their aesthetics, their clothes, and their looks that I wanted to emulate? Or was it something more? I mean, the whole world wants to be like them. But for these women, what I discovered is that it was never just their style or their talent or their status that made a mark on history. They were honestly deeply flawed people. And yet, it's that famous je ne sais quoi, the intangible essence of impact and influence that was there. So I looked deeper, I studied them more and more, and I really think I found the why. And it was an asset that's totally lost on the modern woman. The modern woman has completely lost real, true elegance. You're probably like, elegance? That's it? Is it really holding my fork just right and having proper manners? Should I go buy a poodle and stalk around a hoity-toity country club and wear only pearls and stare down at the world? Or should I take elegance classes? Do I have to be rich? Does this mean women are supposed to sit still and look pretty? I get it. There were so many questions that raced through my mind when I really started to study this, but what I ultimately discovered is that these stereotypes of elegance are really wrong, and they're a result of something much deeper. The women I deeply admired actually had a powerful approach to life with a solution that is surprisingly simple. A simple life that's artfully crafted, emotionally engaging, and profoundly intelligent. Now, when I say that they have a simple life, you may think I mean simple like a life without things. And classical femininity, as I've begun to call it, doesn't mean that we whitewash our personalities or be a minimalist with what we have. Rather than getting rid of things or canceling ideas in the hopes of finding peace, the women that I've looked up to took a much more tactical approach. Elegance is totally different than minimalism. In fact, it's been called the chess to its checkers. In my studies of this real, rooted, and sustaining influence of elegance, there emerged this revelation that it was actually grounded in 4 classical principles, which, by the way, I happened to discover these in a business book written by Matthew E. May, amazing book, but it was about Toyota. And so I read this book and I tried applying his business principles to womanhood. Weird, I know, but that's something I'm just really passionate about. And something totally clicked. So, yes, classical femininity principles that I'm piecing together here were found by a process initially discovered by Toyota. The first principle that makes up these classical feminine elegant principles is symmetry. And basically, it means that it's the embodiment of classical femininity which espouses itself through a personal and recognizable brand. And it's through and through. These classical women thoroughly embraced their callings, and there was alignment in everything they did, everything they wore, said, and acted on to their core. They were true to their values. This can be recognized through a personal brand or fashionably a personal style. There's symmetry in all of their actions. If they do something, you know it's them. Next is subtraction, and I think that this one is the one that modern feminists get the most wrong. So subtraction doesn't mean thinking of yourself less, but being strategic. It's the difference between a modern superhero woman never showing weakness, never showing faults or emotion, and the classic female action stars giving all they have for something greater than themselves and being incredibly strong, yet still showing their soft side. Fashionably, the principle of subtraction lends itself to a balancing act, not giving everything away, but leaving something to be desired, which can be really fun to mix and match. Classical feminine elegance is about being intentional and creative and intelligent. Now, the third elegance principle to combat modern feminism is seduction. And this not necessarily is anything to do with sexual seduction, but rather it's using the imagination as a key to engage interest in what things should get attention. So instead of the modern trends of trauma dumping online or women demanding attention simply because they're women, a classically feminine, elegant woman is more private, and she focuses on her most important tasks and values. Ironically, this kind of privacy creates a mechanism for more interest in her life. Humor actually plays a critical role here, and fashionably, there's so much that can be done with seduction. So, finally, and maybe my favorite, the fourth principle is sustainability. And it's not the kind of eco Green New Deal type of sustainability, but Rather, it's a focus on timelessness. Elegance is something that is sustainable indefinitely, and thus has a love of tradition, history, and efficiency. Modern feminism wants to throw out all the rules and traditions of the past, when really they're actually trading power for degeneracy. Elegance is so rare to come by, but it can actually last forever when done right. Just as diamonds become more valuable not by additional material, but by the way it's cut, women become more defined and confident and brilliant with the power of elegance. And I believe this approach really is the remedy and the return to freedom that women are yearning for in the wake of the torment of feminism lies. In a world of radical self empowerment and self love, I believe that young women are desperate for something deeper than what modern culture feeds us. So, for the young woman looking to make her way in the world without submitting to trashy or politically biased women's media, who desires to make an impact on their world, here I want to dive into these principles in depth. I want to share what I've discovered about using our unique, God given voice in the face of modern feminism. Together, let's unpack the truth in trends and traditions and lifestyles. And using this framework, we can build a life of elegance that creates and promotes truth, goodness, and beauty. So, welcome to The Swish. Here we unpack those modern trends and traditions and lifestyles and share with you the deep dives on their history and their future in light of the vision of classical femininity that makes the modern narratives look so outdated. So I look forward to sharing this with you, and I hope that you leave ready for an inspired and elegant life. If you want more information or some visuals about those 4 principles that I've talked about and that we're diving into here, feel free to click on that link in the description to get my free ebook that I wrote outlining all these principles, and I've included pictures. Just click on the link below, put in your email, and I'll send that to you there. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.